The horror movie genre is pretty big, generating nearly 10% of total box office revenue, and those first films are what the current horror popularity is built on. The early filmmakers lived through the Great Depression, some serving in world wars, then working hard manual labor jobs without any social safety nets, which bred a different kind of person from the 9-to-5 office employee. So here's a list of 12 iconic male actors born pre-World War II. I'd like to do one on female actresses later. Number 1, Boris Karloff, born William Henry Pratt in 1887 in London. He was in 174 movies, plus live stage plays, and appeared on dozens of radio and television programs. But it was horror that made him famous. After arriving in Hollywood in 1919, he struggled for a few years, doing bit parts in silent films and working as a ditch digger and a cement truck driver. Then he was cast in 1931's Frankenstein after Bela Lugosi turned down the part. Some of his horror movies were Frankenstein's Monster, Bride of Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Black Cat, as well as narrating Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Karloff ended his career by appearing in 4 low-budget Mexican horror films, which were shot back-to-back within 1 month in Los Angeles in 1968. A longtime heavy smoker, he had emphysema, which left him with only half of one lung still functioning. He contracted bronchitis in late 1968 and died of pneumonia in '69 at the age of 81. He was cremated and his ashes were scattered in the Garden of Remembrance at the Guildford Crematorium in England. Number 2, Bela Lugosi, born Bela Ferenc Dezo Blasco in Hungary in 1882. During World War I, he served as an infantry officer. He was wounded 3 times and once had to hide in a mass grave to survive. After immigrating to New York, in 1927 he starred as Dracula in a Broadway adaptation of Bram Stoker's novel, best known for portraying the Count, plus other roles like Igor in both Son of Frankenstein and Ghost of Frankenstein. He also appeared in horror films like The Black Cat and The Raven. Late in his life, Lugosi was hired by the ambitious filmmaker Ed Wood, a fan of Lugosi's, who found him living in obscurity and near poverty. Lugosi sought treatment for his drug addiction. Following that, he made one final film in 1955 called The Black Sleep. At the age of 73, Lugosi died of a heart attack in 1956 in his Los Angeles apartment. He was buried wearing a Dracula cape in the Holy Cross Cemetery in Culver City, California. Number 3, Peter Lorre, born Laszlo Lowenstein in 1904 in Hungary. Some of his horror movies were The Raven, Tales of Terror, M, but his most famous movie role is usually considered to be in the movie Casablanca. Lorre was the first actor to play a James Bond villain in the 1954 television adaptation of Casino Royale. Lorre suffered from chronic gallbladder troubles, for which he was prescribed and became addicted to morphine. His final film was the comedy The Patsy, released in 1964. He died from a stroke in Los Angeles in '64. He was cremated and his ashes were interred at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Number 4, Claude Rains. William Claude Rains was born in 1889 in London. During World War I, a gas attack left him nearly blind in his right eye. Despite this, he rose from the rank of private to captain. He started off in theater, and his horror movies were things like The Invisible Man, The Wolf Man, The Phantom of the Opera. An alcoholic, Rains died from cirrhosis of the liver in 1967 at the age of 77. He is buried at the Red Hill Cemetery in New Hampshire. Number 5, Lon Chaney, born Leonidas Frank Chaney in Colorado in 1930. He left stage acting after his wife attempted suicide, and his subsequent divorce was scandalous and forced him to seek a career in the burgeoning motion picture industry. He was renowned for his characterizations of tortured and often grotesque characters, and for his groundbreaking artistry with makeup. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Phantom of the Opera, London After Midnight, and The Monster were some of his horror movies. During the filming of Thunder in 1929, Chaney developed pneumonia. This was made worse when fake snow lodged in his throat during filming and caused a serious infection. He died in 1930 at the age of 47 from a throat hemorrhage and lung cancer. He's entombed in the Great Mausoleum at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in California. Number 6, Lon Chaney Jr. Creighton Tull Chaney was born in 1973 in Oklahoma. He appeared in over 170 films, and some of the horror movies are Calling Dr. Death, The Mummy's Tomb, Son of Dracula, House of Frankenstein, and his most famous role, The Wolfman. He was the only actor to play all four classic Universal monsters. His last movie, Dracula vs. Frankenstein, was shot in 1969 and released in '71. Near the end of his life, he made an appearance on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. He claimed that his weak voice was the result of his playfully growling at children on Halloween. Actually, he was suffering from throat cancer. A heavy drinker and smoker, Chaney died of heart disease in 1973 at the age of 67. He donated his body to science, so there is no grave. Number 7, Vincent Price. Born in 1911 in St. Louis, Missouri, he appeared on stage, television, and radio, and in more than 100 films. Some of the horror movies are House of Wax, The Fly, House on Haunted Hill, House of Usher, The Last Man on Earth, and The Mask of the Red Death. Michael Jackson offered Vincent Price a choice between an upfront payment of $20,000 or a percentage of royalties to narrate a song on his Thriller album. Because he chose the $20,000, Price probably missed out on millions of dollars in residuals when Thriller became one of the best-selling albums in history. Price suffered from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and Parkinson's disease. His symptoms were especially severe during his last movie, Edward Scissorhands, requiring his filming schedule to be shortened. He died in 1993 at the age of 82. His primary causes of death were lung cancer and emphysema. His remains were cremated, and his ashes were scattered in Malibu, California. Number 8, Peter Cushing. Born in 1913 in England, he struggled to find acting work and supported himself by hand-painting scarves and creating watercolors. He appeared in 130 film and television projects, and some of the horror ones were The Curse of Frankenstein, Horror of Dracula, The Mummy, The Brides of Dracula, and he gained worldwide fame for his appearances in 22 Hammer horror films. In 1982, Cushing was diagnosed with prostate cancer. His doctors determined he had 12 to 18 months to live, and although his health continued gradually to decline, he lived another 12 years without any operative treatment or chemotherapy. In 1994, Cushing entered into hospice in Canterbury, where he died at the age of 81. He was cremated, and his ashes are believed to have been interred next to his wife at a churchyard in Kent, England. Number 9, Christopher Lee. Born in 1922 in London, England, he served as an intelligence officer in the Royal Air Force during World War II, and he holds a record as the oldest heavy metal musician, achieving this in 2013 at the age of 91 when his holiday single, Jingle Hell, charted on the Billboard Hot 100, making him the oldest person to ever hit the top 40. He appeared in over 260 films. A few of the horror titles are Horror Hotel, Horror of Dracula, The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll, Crypt the Vampire, Taste the Blood of Dracula, The Wicker Man, and Sleepy Hollow. His last movie was the 2016 cosmic comedy, Angels in Notting Hill. Lee died of heart failure in 2015 at age 93. He was cremated and his ashes were scattered across the Surrey Hills in England. Number 10, Lionel Atwill. Born in 1885 in the UK, renowned for his screen presence, he often played obsessive scientists, mad doctors, or persistent police figures in Universal's classic monster era. He married Louise Conwell Brooks in 1930, who was previously married to General Douglas MacArthur. Some of his horror movies include The Vampire Bat, Mystery of the Wax Museum, Mark of the Vampire, Son of Frankenstein, and The Hound of the Baskervilles. His career suffered a blow when a notorious orgy at his Hollywood Hills home resulted in a major sex and pornography scandal. One of these parties resulted in a grand jury investigation over allegations of indecent exposure and pornographic films. He was found guilty of perjury and sentenced to 5 years probation. Atwill died of pneumonia and lung cancer in 1946 at age 61 while filming Lost City in the Jungle. They finished his remaining scenes using a double, filmed from behind. He was cremated and his remains are at an undisclosed location. Number 11. Basil Rathbone. Born in 1892, Johannesburg, South Africa, he was a highly decorated World War I veteran and a two-time British Army fencing champion. He appeared in more than 70 films, Some of the horror ones are The Tales of Terror, The Planet of Blood, The Black Cat, and Spider-Woman. His final film was the low-budget Mexican horror movie Autopsia de un Fantasma, released in 1968. Rathbone died of a heart attack in New York City in 1967 at the age of 75. His body is interred in a crypt in the Shrine of Memories Mausoleum at Ferncliff Cemetery in New York. And number 12, John Carradine. Richmond Reed Carradine was born in 1906 in New York. He originally tried to sell designs to director Cecil B. DeMille. DeMille rejected the sketches, but, struck by Carradine's booming, classically trained voice, hired him to do voiceover work. Carradine once spent time in jail for vagrancy, where he got into a fight. The broken nose that resulted did not heal properly, giving him his distinct facial profile. He has 351 film and television credits, and some of his horror movies are The Invisible Man, The Black Cat, Bride of Frankenstein, Revenge of the Zombies, and House of Dracula. Carradine's final film was the 1995 horror movie Jack O, released 7 years after his death in 1988. His last on-screen appearance in a film released during his lifetime was the 1990 movie Buried Alive, which was filmed in '88. Carradine suffered from crippling rheumatoid arthritis in the years before he died from heart and kidney failure in Milan. His body was buried at sea off the California coast. It's easy to believe in some glamorous mythology of old Hollywood, but many of them lived much of their lives in pretty unglamorous ways, like most of us. And those early horror movies, while sometimes a little campy, is what built today's horror boom.